Greetings, my friends. I am Lord Stark, and this is Stark Raving. Tonight's episode is called, And So His Watch Has Ended. And I can appreciate that. You know, the truly terrible thing about living in a cave is you've got rocks for pillows, rocks for chairs, and rocks for between-meal snacks. Last night I rolled over in my sleep and accidentally smashed my pocket sundial against one of these rocks, so now I can truly say my watch has ended. Let's check in with Theon Greyjoy.
Theon's rescuer claims to be a citizen of the Iron Islands and knows all about Theon's childhood imprisonment by the Starks. Theon admits his father didn't trust him in the rebellion against the Starks, but also knows he was never one of them in Winterfell. He's consumed with guilt over murdering a pair of innocent orphans in order to convince everyone he'd killed Bran and Rickon Stark. His rescuer opens up the door leading to his sister, but Theon finds himself back in his dungeon. His rescuer claiming Theon killed his pursuers, and once again he's tied to the rack.
Nope. I don't feel sorry for him, no. No, he admitted it. He killed orphans. I don't feel sorry for him, no. Let's check in with Bran Stark.
In his dreams, Bran chases the three-eyed raven. Jojen encourages him to climb after the bird, and in the trees he sees his mother. She becomes agitated, trying to get him to promise never to climb again, and he falls, waking up in camp with Jojen watching him.
I dreamt about a three-eyed raven once. It flew into the Stark family library, rested on a bust of my beloved Lenore, and kept saying, "Nevermore, nevermore." I thought about writing a poem about it, but who'd want to read that? Let's check in with everyone's favorite Ice Queen, Cersei Lannister.
As Cersei and Lady Olenna discuss the details of the upcoming wedding, a giddy Joffrey shows Margaery around the chapel, pointing out where and how various royalty died. Olenna and Cersei share a moment when they discuss mothers trying to keep their sons alive when they seem to yearn for the grave. Margaery and Joffrey hear the crowds outside, and she suggests going to see them.
If you give them your love, they will return it 1,000-fold.
Cersei tries to stop them, but they go out and the crowd begins cheering for the royal couple. As Margaery beams, Cersei feels her influence slip further away. She tells Tywin that the Tyrells are going to be a problem. She doesn't like that Margaery's manipulating Joffrey, but Tywin points out that Joffrey needs someone to control him. When she implies controlling Joffrey is not so easy, he promises her he will.
Sounds like a power struggle is coming to King's Landing. With any luck, this will result in more footage of kingly bitch slaps. Someday this show could get up to a 10 bitch slap rating. In the meantime, let's check in with my favorite, oh hell, he's your favorite, he's everyone's favorite eunuch. Let's check in with Varys.
Varys is unpacking a crate when Tyrion stops to ask if the eunuch can get him proof that Cersei tried to have him murdered. No, but Varys tells him the tale of how he was sold to a sorcerer. The sorcerer paralyzed him, cut off, and then burned his genitals in a dark magic ritual. Varys heard some thing speak to the magician. Ever since, Varys has feared magic and the dark monsters in the unknown. Desiring revenge, he slowly gained power and influence, rising from the slums to the small council. All for today. Inside the crate is the sorcerer who mutilated him.
I have no doubt the revenge you want will be yours in time. If you have the stomach for it.
Later, Varys and Raz are discussing the growing legend of Podrick, sexual savant. She's convinced Littlefinger is leaving with Sansa as he's bringing 2 beds aboard his ship. Lady Olenna grows bored with her grandchildren's embroidery. She openly mocks the Tyrell symbol of a golden rose and the family motto of grow strong. Varys comes to visit her, and, having heard of him, she instantly guesses that he wants something.
You've taken an interest in Sansa Stark?
Have I? Why shouldn't I take an interest? She's an interesting girl.
Is she?
No, not particularly.
He tells her that Littlefinger is after Sansa, and if Robb Stark falls, she is the next heir to the north. By marrying her, Littlefinger would have a claim to those lands and their armies. Margaery finds Sansa praying, although she won't say for what, and the two go on a walk. She tells Sansa she wants them to be friends, and that she must visit the Tyrell's home of Highgarden. She also implies that when she's queen, Sansa could leave King's Landing with her protection, and, if she wanted to, marry her brother, Sir Loras.
Oh, but Sir Loras is president of the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Highgarden Division. Let's find out what's going on with Jaime Lannister. Oh!
The Boltons ride to camp with Jaime and Brienne. Jaime's severed hand wrapped around his neck. He collapses and begs for water, but the men cruelly give him horse urine. He grabs a sword but is too weak to fight and is beaten down.
What? What?
Brienne tries to get Jaime to eat, but he simply wants to die. She mocks him for giving up so easily, and it provokes him into eating his dinner. She then asks him why did he save her from her rapists, to which he gives no answer.
The real reason Jamie's depressed, his favourite food is baby back ribs with corn on the cob, extra butter. And you've robbed him of that experience, you bastards! Let's find out how fares my friends in the Night's Watch in the Northern Wastes.
As the Night's Watch members shovel pig shit, Rast begins to sow the seeds of dissent, saying Lord Mormont can't protect them from the White Walkers. Gilly tries to keep her baby asleep as Sam comes to visit. She gives him back his thimble and bluntly asks if he can save her son's life, something Sam's not sure he can do. Mormont sees to the burning of one of the members of the Night's Watch. The brothers imply that he starved to death, once again building up resentment of Craster. It gets worse when Craster tells Mormont he should kill the weak brothers and be on their way. Carl and Rast begin mouthing off to Craster, hinting that he's got a hidden larder of food. Mormont tries to order his men out, but things turn ugly.
I'll chop the hands off the next man who calls me bastard. You are a bastard. A daughter fucking wildling bastard.
The Lord Commander tries to stop him, but is stabbed in the back by Rast. This leads to the Night's Watch fighting one another. Sam grabs Gilly and her baby, and they run off into the wilds.
Oh, damn it. I knew no good would come from Carl. I'm the one who recruited him into the Night's Watch, you see. Yeah, I found him chopping torchwood on Westeros' Pacific Rim. His motto was he'd get the wood home before the dark night rises. I never would have taken him, but I had to fulfill my quota of hilarious references. Arya, you're up.
The Brotherhood Without Banners arrives at their home cave with Arya, Gendry, and the Hound. They meet the group's leader, Beric, a former bannerman of Ned Stark, who'd been sent to capture the Mountain, the Hound's brother. The Brotherhood claim to protect the innocent, while Clegane says they're just thugs. He rejects the crimes they lay at his feet until Arya accuses him of murdering her friend Micah, way back in Season 1. He claims to have been following orders, but the Brotherhood decide that this is a good enough reason to put him on trial before the Lord of Light. He'll be found guilty or innocent through trial by combat.
And finally we cross the narrow sea to Ashtapor, where Daenerys Targaryen takes possession of her army. And my heart. Skipped a beat.
Dany and her advisors arrive to take possession of the Unsullied. She brings out her dragon and hands it over to the slave master in exchange for his whip, the symbol of command to the Unsullied.
Dracarys.
The Unsullied raise the slaver city. Dany tells them she needs them to fight for her, but not as slaves. If they remain her army, they will do it as free men. The Unsullied begin tapping their spears on the ground in unison, signaling their allegiance to their new leader. Dany marches her army on the rest of Essos.
Okay, when did the skinny blonde girl become unbelievably scary? All in all, a very interesting series of events. But how did it fare in my eyes? Let's take a closer look.
This was the first episode that really gave enough time to the majority of its players. Bran and Sansa got shortchanged a bit, but Sansa's appearance can be seen as a continuation of Varys' scene with the Lady Olenna. By giving Robb Stark and Jon Snow some much-needed time off, it'll allow those characters to condense their story for their next appearance and gives more time to those characters that do appear in this episode. And this was easily the best use of Varys to date. Tyrion has a strange friendship with the eunuch, but even he's disturbed to see just how far Varys has gone after so long a time for revenge. Varys' speech about his castration and his hatred of magic was the second best moment of the episode. His further appearances show just why he's a capable spy master. He can be completely charming when he wants to be. The best moment in this episode, however, was Dany's end scene. When she reveals that she's understood High Valyrian all along, we, along with the slavers, realize we've been underestimating her. She's also able to combine Jorah and Mormont's advice from last episode. She needs the Unsullied, but the best armies fight for a cause. By freeing them, she becomes their cause. Her dragon burning that bastard alive was frankly damn cool. It provided some much needed action for a season that so far got him by on little moments and the occasional sword fight. Equally powerful was the dissolution of the Night's Watch as their fear and resentment finally boils over. The death of Craster was both satisfying and worrying, as it leads to the death of Mormont and the Night's Watch turning on itself when Westeros needs them more than ever. Also, I won't say Gilly's scene where she turns on Sam in favor of her baby was unneeded, but if anything was cuttable, it would have been that one. I think it's safe to say that we take it for granted she loves her son. Cersei was a mixed bag. I liked her moments with Olenna. You could really see just how hard it is to be a mother seeing your child in danger when all they can see is the glory just out of reach. And her fear for Joffrey after the last riots is well played. The scene with Tywin, however, wasn't much. The whole I don't trust the Tyrells bit is already getting old. This scene just further shows the old man has no favorite children. They're just pawns in his grand plans. You can almost forgive her for being so horrible since it's obvious she had to grow up with only her father, a man she's desperate to please but never will. Arya's stuff, like last episode, was brief but satisfying. The Brotherhood is trying hard to find a reason to put Sandor Clegane on trial, but his arguments are a bit too rational. They can't find fault until Arya brings up the death of the Butcher's son from Season 1. Maisie Williams does a great job here as Arya's anger that's been building over the last season and a half finally erupts. She wants to see him die. It was important to know that her anger is growing instead of cooling as time goes by. It was good that we followed up on Jaime. It was just bad that not much happened. He's weak and depressed. He's been weak and depressed for 4 episodes now. Theon's stuff as well was a bit pointless. I was impressed by actor Ewan Rian, who switches over from his quiet, noble helper mode to a more cruel sadist. It's an impressive bit of nonverbal acting. Of course, the pointlessness of it all is probably because Theon didn't appear in the book that this season was based on, so they need to find a reason to keep the character around, and they're just using this season to fill in his backstory from the next book.
Overall, I found this to be a superior episode. By cutting back on the number of characters appearing, the story held our focus much better. Varys' story about his castration and Dany's destruction of the slavers are 2 of the high points of this season so far. I give, and so his watch has ended.
Do you have running?
4 kingly bitch slaps out of 5. Today's question about life in Westeros comes to us from Anthari. Anthari writes, "Greetings, Lord Stark. May I begin by bluntly asking what makes you a bloody lord, my good man? Do the other Starks know you're abusing titles you cannot have earned in any possible way? Living in a cave does not make a Sir, much less a Lord." Well, first off, Anthony, great question. Second off, screw you. I have and always will be Lord Stark. However, my given name is Gaylord Stark. For obvious reasons, I fostered the use of a nickname as my first name as quickly as possible. For obvious reasons, the local bullies chose the wrong half of my name to make my nickname. When I joined the Night's Watch, I told them my name was Lord Stark, and that's been the end of it ever since. Like Anthari, such a great name. If you have a question about life in Westeros, leave it in the comments section below. I'll choose one to read and answer on next week's show. Until then, I am Until then, I am Lord Stark, and this is Stark Raving!